Hey everyone, this is Kieran from MSK Physio. Today's exercise is about starting to encourage some side flexion into the thoracic spine. It's a bit of a multi-purpose exercise. You might have seen this turn up in some of our other videos looking at other regions of the body. But we're going to emphasize a little bit more into thoracic side flexion. This will be particularly useful for those that have had like rib injuries or mid-back injuries or shoulder injuries. So if that feels like that might resonate with you, then give this exercise a go. So using neurodevelopmental stages, basically the phases that when we're a baby we start to learn how to walk and then run. There's building blocks on the way there. And what's nice about them is that they're reactive, in that once you get into a particular position, some of the work happens just because you react to the situation and the environment. As adults, we're sort of figured out sort of ways around that, so we might need to bring in some cues just to guide your attention and give you something to focus on. But you know, it's a good motivator not to fall on your face. So when we're thinking about thoracic spine in that context, we will need to think about, can the muscles through my thoracic spine hold me up off the ground? Or conversely, you know, in a flex position, but we're looking at more of an extended position for this one. Just a little bit of quick anatomy. When you're doing side flexion, we need to think about what's happening in terms of inhalation and exhalation. So when I'm closing down my left side, the upper 6 ribs are going down and the bottom 6 ribs are coming up. And that just has to do with the shape of the joints and how they attach to the thoracic spine bones, the vertebrae. And then the opposite side here, the upper 6 are going up and the bottom 6 are going down. It's kind of like an accordion, right? We get a nice big opening curve on one side and a closed curve on the other side. With the down position over here, that's a little more exhalation. With the open position over here, that's a little more inhalation. So depending on what you're trying to improve, you would add in some of those breathing cues to help you get that end range. So that aside now, we'll bring it in and back in a second. So just lock that away for a second. We're gonna get down into this position. So sideways movement is in the frontal plane. If you're not sure what that is, you can go back to one of our lower back series in the articles and it talks a little bit about that. But basically, by me bringing my knee up into the side here, I'm now moving into the frontal plane, which means I have to work in the frontal plane, right? So as I'm here, my hip, my pelvis, is now being hitched up, which is bringing, we talked about the side flexion and the ribs coming up. I'm just creating it from the other end, right? So now I'm getting into an exhalation position on this left side. So if I was interested in being able to breathe out a bit better and get my ribs to depress more on one side, I'd put them into this position. If it was the left side, then I'd be in this left-sided position. If it was the right side, I'd go the other way. Elbow is going to be there to support you. It's a point of contact. And then I also have a point of contact at the front of the hip here. So you've got a few to work through, right? We've got knee, we've got hip, and we got elbow. The reason we haven't got the fourth one on this other side is because that arm is going to come up potentially as a challenge later on. This arm, you're going to push down into the ground and pull backwards a bit. And it's just going to kick in some lats and cue some of that spinal side flexion. And what you're going to start to feel is contraction in through this left side. As I exhale, I'm going to exaggerate it. My head might be over here a little bit, and as I get more used to it, I'm going to try and lengthen this tissue here and look forward. And what I'm feeling is a strong contraction through my left ribs. Now the opposite side, the right side, if I wanted to open up and improve inhalation, then I would reach with this right arm and breathe into the right side of my ribs. A necessary prerequisite for there to be mobility is that there's an anchor point or stability somewhere. So it means that one end of the muscle can move while the other end holds securely, and that's happening in like a really, you know, quite a wide array of coordination throughout the body. But I'm pushing down through my hand, I'm creating fixation through my elbow here, it's going through my thumb, and what this is allowing me to do is cue certain areas of my body, okay? You'll feel it when you kick in. It's a lot different to push in through the outside of the hand versus the inside. Okay, so you get a nice inhalation over through here. And back to the exhalation. All right. So to add the challenge now, I need to keep myself away from the ground. I'm going to do the same thing, but my hand's going to be off the ground now, so I can't balance as much through it. So if I'm in up here like this, pushing away, creating that same pullback, heads away from the ground. I'm not letting myself come down. Just think about being as tall as you can and as wide as you can. So wide being that way, tall being that way. So nice and tall, nice and wide. And then exhale. Try to resist coming down. Okay, fight gravity. If you want to work on the inhalation, then you would work on a bigger inhale. So let's show you a little bit from this angle. Up and down. You need to get up this high. Be all that height up. Pulling down. Pushing away. Tall as down, neck. Relaxed, right? So, nice little exercise just to open up that side flexion through the spine, particularly that thoracic. So if you feel like that's something that you need, or you feel like when you do this it's quite tough, then work away on it. If it's very, very, very shaky, then go back to some of our other exercises which focus on just using both fixation points of the hands or the elbows, and they'll be an easier starting point for you. If you like this video, then please hit like below. Otherwise, to check out more of our content in the future, you can subscribe to our channel by clicking our logo over here. And to check out our latest video, click up here.